here. I don't know how much English we have, so what I want to do is talk to you about the saxophone, show you different things, how I learned. If you have any questions, raise your hand and I'll stop, and then we can talk about your question. And maybe someone here that has more English can help, and we'll all help each other and communicate. So this is my Kyleworth. This is an SX90R that I've been playing for about 25 years. So it's become very personal to me. You know, the instruments are very, very unique. Every saxophone is different, right? Every person is different. Every instrument is different. So it's very important to find an instrument for yourself that works for the way you think about music and for the way you feel and for the size of your hands and your body and all of that, so that it's natural. This is the most natural saxophone for me. It works out great for my body size, my hands, and it's become a very natural part of me. I try to practice every day if I'm not traveling, and the main things that I focus on are having a clean, clear technique and having an even sound all over the instrument, the same sound. So that takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of concentration to get the same clarity all over the instrument. So that's what I work on every day. That's a part of my life. What I usually do is start just with one interval, just with a minor third interval. Then a minor third up. Then chromatically down. Always working on keeping the same sound. Also, when I do my warm-ups, I articulate to clearly focus the note, warm up my face, warm up my muscles. You know, when you warm up your instrument, you're warming up your body, you're warming up yourself, right? We're a part of the saxophone. So when you're warming up your saxophone, you're warming up yourself. You're warming up the muscles in your face. You're warming up the airflow. So all of these things work together. So that's why I start very simply every day. So right, ta-ta-ya. Focusing on the middle part of the instrument, where you only have one finger down and then many fingers down, that's difficult to push all of the keys at the same time. So I focus on that. Whenever you have a problem with a certain area of your instrument, whether it's high or low, focus on the things that are difficult. When you focus on the things that are difficult, the difficult things get easier. And so it comes together to make your whole sound flow. When you focus on the things that are difficult and you do difficult things until they become easy, everything then works together. So the middle of the saxophone, and the top, the palm keys, right? These are called the palm keys, and they're very, very sensitive, because when you push these keys down, this one may go up first, this one may go up next. They have to go up together, so it makes a note that's clear rather than blip. It goes ba, right? So we work on that with the same technique. Spend 5 minutes every day. If you do that, then you get a feel for where these keys are. Always focusing on keeping everything even. I do this every day. This is my day if I'm not traveling. Every day I take 2 hours. The first hour is basic saxophone playing. Basic, simple, rudimentary saxophone playing. Making sure that my hands and my mind and my instrument are working together. After the first hour of my practice, then I start working on songs, chord scales, playing with play-along CDs, writing, working on a tune, something like that. But the first hour is all of these very basic things. Another one I do is very simple. I'm not tonguing now. Just minor thirds. You can start on any note. Never play anything faster than you can play it. I play fast. You hear me play, I play fast. I forget sometimes that you might not hear exactly what I'm doing because it's going by fast. But you have to remember, I do this, I've been doing this every day for 30 years, I guess, you know, I have a system that I have created over time for myself, right? And I think something that I work on, that I like, that I need, I keep that. Something else, I keep that. If I practice a classical etude, if I'm working on a classical piece and I play a phrase that I like the sound of, then I look at those notes and I say, okay, well, what chord does this outline? And then you can take a classical exercise or a part of a classical exercise and you can create your own exercise out of it to work over a particular chord or a harmony, right? So we're always looking for information. You find information from listening to other people play. You find information from books that you study. You find information from just sitting. You know, if you're sitting and you're practicing, you discover things for yourself, you know. If you take G major concert, which for the tenor saxophone is A major concert. And you can listen to those notes and then mix them up. Right? That's a natural thing for the saxophone. A trumpet player, that would be very difficult. A piano player or a guitar player would be very difficult. For the saxophone, your hands just have the natural things that they do, and you figure out what those are. And that's all just with the G major scale. When you play something that is an exercise, and it can be very, very boring because you're doing the same thing over and over again, then make some changes. Try some different things. When you do the thing that you've always done, then you say, okay, I know those notes. What about and then it's much more interesting than right? Same notes, just in different places. So when you know the notes, you can change them, you can put them anywhere. That's the basic seed of improvisation. When we study improvisation, when you study playing jazz, all of the great musicians get the same information. A G major chord is a G major chord for John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, Beethoven, Bach, Stravinsky, Keith Jarrett. It's always it's G major. It has to be those notes to be G major. If you do this, then that's minor, right? All of a sudden it's become G minor. In fact, it's become G melodic minor. It's become G minor with a major 7, and that's called melodic minor. The minor 7th with the minor chord with a major 7th is always a melodic minor scale. You do the same things when you learn a new scale than when you learn the other major scales, right? This is the G melodic minor scale. So when you learn these scales, experiment, because then you're using your mind. You're expanding your creative mind. And that's the same as Miles Davis or Charlie Parker or Thelonious Monk or anybody else. They all did the same thing because they all got the same information. They all got this scale. Why did Thelonious Monk play what he played? Why did Miles Davis play what he played? Why did John Coltrane play what he played? And they had the same notes. So that means you can do that too. The only thing that they have that most of us don't have was an incredible desire. They had a desire to do something special. They had a desire to be great. They had a desire to play something different because they heard something different in their mind. I think we all hear different things, and we're all creative in our mind. I think what keeps us from being a Charlie Parker or being a Thelonious Monk is just an idea, is just thinking that, well, I could never be Charlie Parker. I could never be Thelonious Monk. You can be you. You can take the information you get from listening to Thelonious Monk and from listening to Charlie Parker, and you can say, I see. That's what they thought, right? Now, you study them, and then after a while you say, that's good. Now, here's what I think. And then you become a part of the creative process. That's what we're all trying to do. We're all trying to sing our song. We're all trying to have our sound. It takes time. It takes focus, but you can do it if you want, you know. Just starting out, just like we did with minor thirds. Right? John Coltrane played minor thirds, all kinds of different ways, right? Right, and that's just on the minor. Then, a minor chord or a dominant chord, you can play the blues scale through the minor or the dominant chord. And that's this scale. We're still in G concert. And you hear that? That's the basic blues scale. Right? You learn it in one key, you work on it in another key, just as an F. And then you go back. Right? You practice the scale and the sound of the scale in all the different keys. All of those things that you hear John Coltrane and different people do are related to very simple motifs, little ideas, little four-note ideas that they play, that they learn to play in all the keys. And so then they play through the keys and they got these other sounds, right? But the root of it, the seed of it, is all very simple. It's just, right? One, minor third, right? And the fourth. So when you learn something that you like, when you hear a line that you like, try it in different keys, right? Say, oh, I like the way that sounds. Well, try them in everything. Try everything in all the different keys. Then when you play, you have the flexibility. It takes time. But we're here because we like the saxophone. We're here because we like music. So what could be a more enjoyable part of your day than to take 2 hours of your day and get away from all of the other stuff of life and just take 2 hours for yourself and work on something that you care about. When you practice, it clears your mind. When you practice, it strengthens your body. And when you, after you've had your 2 hours of practice or your 1 hour of practice or whatever you can get, you put your instrument down and you go back out in the world and it's, oh, iPad. Oh, email. Oh, no. What did they do? Who did that? Who's got the money? Right? It's all there. It's always there. Right? But if you take that 1 hour, 1 hour and a half every day, it makes it easier to deal with all the noise. Right? We're very distracted. Our culture is very distracted. There's a lot of noise, all kinds of noise. I call it noise. If you take time, a little bit of time every day, and focus on one particular thing, it's easier to deal with the noise, you know, because the noise is always there. So this is a very good way of keeping your mind clear. And you take these things and you just do them. This is just chromatic. When you focus on these things, focus on the notes so that you play as clearly as possible, you can't think about anything else, right? So it's a very good focus. Sound. Technique is, to me, optional. For playing jazz, for improvising, you can play a lot of notes or you can play a few notes. That doesn't really matter as long as you communicate your feeling. I think sound is more important than all the notes. I think the way that you make a sound, the way that you play one note is more important than 1,000 notes, because that's where your consciousness and your spirit comes through, right? So when you practice, you work on that. The things that we talk about. When I hold a tone, I use a little bit of vibrato because it makes it warm. When I'm not holding a note, I usually play a straight tone so that the sound will be clear. Working on a melody, making it sing a song. The saxophone is a very melodic instrument. It's like a voice, right? Always keep your throat open, stay as relaxed as you can stay, and then all the notes come through. All right? Playing. Work on playing each note as clearly as possible. If it doesn't sound good now, keep doing it, because it will get better. You get focused, you get connected to your instrument. You know, like we were talking about in the beginning, when you choose an instrument, you pick the instrument for you that feels good to you. This is my favorite instrument because it has a very, very round sound. It has an open sound, and I like the way it feels. It plays very well in tune. Always just stay open, keep your throat open, keep your lungs open, and the sound comes out. Okay? The thing that I just played through is just a scale, and we were talking about it before. It's the minor with a major seventh. It's a melodic minor scale. That was a C, melodic minor. There's a rule with all of these scales. Every scale you learn at least 3 other scales. So that's why it's very important to study the scales and learn what the notes are, okay? The rule to this particular scale is the C minor scale, the C minor, melodic minor, which is the minor with the major seventh, is the same scale as the F dominant scale with a flat 5. So the interval between the C and the F is a 4th, right? So any melodic minor scale is a dominant 7 flat 5 scale when you play the same scale off a 4th. All right, so here's the minor scale. Here's the dominant scale. Same scale, it's just where you start. It gives it another sound. That's what a lot of the great players do. They take a chord, they take a sound, and they start it from another level, and it makes a different sound. But it's still the same rule. So what I'm saying is, all the things that you learn, when you think you're learning one thing, you're learning maybe 3 things, because you're combining the information. So practicing is good that way too, because you're not just sitting and learning one stupid scale, right? You're learning 3 or 4 stupid scales. Much better, right? Sorry. It's all about how you put the information together. Working on sound, play melodies, play songs, you know. All the tones, work with them so that everything feels good to you, feels melodic to you. If your instrument isn't working well, you'll know, and so you fix it. You get it fixed, you take it to the shop. If these notes, if they're not coming out, if the lower notes are not coming out, it means you need to get your instrument adjusted, and then all the notes will come out. Mouthpieces, reeds, that's a lifetime of experimentation. You know, some people have boxes of mouthpieces. It depends. For me, you either search your whole life for something that's perfect, and you have hundreds of mouthpieces, or you take one mouthpiece that's okay, and you practice and you study and you live with it and you work with it, and then it gets perfect. Nothing is perfect because we're not perfect. We're different every day. And you can pick up your instrument every day and it plays differently. And it's not all the time the instrument. It's just the way we're feeling that day, you know? So for me, this mouthpiece I have been playing since 1969. It's an auto link mouthpiece that I had made because I like to play a very wide mouth. I like to play a wide mouthpiece with a soft reed. For me, I can get more sound, more sounds, different sounds, you know. And it was not perfect. It is not perfect. But I just figure it's better to have something that's okay and spend my time working on my harmony and my playing than trying to find the perfect mouthpiece and not working on my playing, you know? So that was my choice. It's all of those things. No, everybody brings your own sound. We all have our own sound inside of us. So no 2 people can sound the same, but you get an instrument and you feel how it is for you, and then you work on that. and that becomes your sound. The way you play individually and the way you hear individually, that becomes your voice, just like my speaking voice. It's the same. All the altissimo notes have their own fingerings. You know, it's not just doing this. You can do that, but it's not melodic to me. It's melodic to a lot of people, but it's not melodic to me. So, working on the altissimo, there's a very good book by a man named Robert Lucky, and it's just called High Notes for the Saxophone, but it has altissimo fingerings for soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone. And it has sets of fingerings because all of the mouthpieces and all of the horns respond differently to the altissimo because what you're doing is you're overblowing the natural overtone series. What I did is to play the lower octave first and then up, right? So. Like that, right? That's the beginning. I use a tuner when I play. I have one of these little chord tuners that I sit on my music stand, and it's always on. And then as I play, I'll check with the tuner to see, because there's a tendency to play these notes sharp, high, because it's hard work, right? When you do something that's physically difficult, your body gets tight, your throat closes up, and the pitch goes up, because the saxophone gets smaller. The saxophone starts here. It's a tube. The whole thing is a tube. And if the tube is open, the pitch stays stable, but if you close the tube anywhere, the pitch will go up because the tube is shorter. So that's why we try to stay relaxed, and then the instrument plays better in tune. All of these basic things you just do slowly, right? We talked about the minor third. If you take minor thirds and stack them, that makes a diminished chord. So just playing minor thirds will get you in tune with playing diminished, right?